So Odlanier Solis knocks out Yakup Saglam in the 7th round. This was pretty much just a sparring session for Odlanier Solis. Saglam tried his best. He's a big, strong guy. He's in shape, he's athletic. But the skill gap was just too much. You know, as we all know, Solis is tremendously skillful. He has all the ability in the world. And in my opinion, Solis is the most skillful heavyweight, all-round skillful heavyweight in the world. This guy can do it all. He can box on the front foot. He can box on the back foot. He can lead off. He can counterpunch. He can jab. He's got a great defense. He can go to the body. He can fight on the inside. He can fight on the outside. This guy can do everything. We all know about his amateur background. We all know about his pedigree. You know, skill-wise, as far as I'm concerned, Solis is the cream of the crop in the heavyweight division. It gets no better in terms of skills than this man. And in this fight with Saglam, he was just toying with him, doing whatever the hell he wanted. Decided to step it up around the 6th, 7th round, and he took Saglam out with a big overhand right, knocked him out. The only other time I'd seen Saglam, from what I can remember, is when he fought Manuel Charr. And he gave Manuel Charr a much tougher fight than he gave Odlanier Solis. It was much more rough and difficult for Charr, even though the fight I think might have been shorter. But from what I remember, it was a much rougher fight. And, you know, Charr had a lot more problems. Charr just don't have the skills that Solis has. Solis is a tremendously skillful fighter, like I said. So, yeah, the fight itself was pretty much a non-event. It was a nice knockout, you know, nice little stay-busy fight. Solis was just, it was a walk in the park for Solis, man. He was just nonchalant about the whole thing. You know, he's been in the ring with so much better fighters than this guy. It was just, you know what I mean? It was just a walk in the park for Solis. So not really much to say about the fight other than a nice little knockout. But Solis' career overall, as we all know, this guy has all the skills in the world, but he can't get in shape. Yeah, that's the problem with this guy. Apparently, Solis' trainer, after his last fight against Larson, actually before the Larson fight, Solis apparently came into camp. He came into training camp over 270 pounds. And after the Larson fight, his trainer told him that if he does that again, if he puts on so much weight and comes into camp as, you know, in such terrible shape ever again, that he's going to walk out. His trainer's going to leave him. He'll refuse to train the guy. And someone has to tell him, man. Someone has to tell him, because Solis is just throwing his career away. This guy's got so much ability, so much talent, but he can't get himself in condition. It's like, what's wrong with this guy? What is wrong with this guy? Come on, man. There's nothing more frustrating as a boxing fan than to see a guy who has all the talent in the world, but he can't do the most basic thing, and that is to get in shape. That's so frustrating. You know, I like to see fighters fulfill their potential, especially talented fighters like Solis. And to see him just throw it all away, you know, because he loves his KFC or Burger King or McDonald's, whatever the hell, it's frustrating to watch, man. It's very frustrating. And me personally, I won't take Solis seriously as a heavyweight contender unless he comes in under 235. That's me personally. I can't take him seriously because, you know, he lost to Klitschko because he blew his knee out. Even at 242, whatever he was against Klitschko, that was still too heavy. This guy used to box at 200 pounds in the amateurs. He's not a natural heavyweight, all right? Or at least he wasn't in the amateurs. Maybe now he, you know, if he was in shape, if you stripped all the fat off Odlanier Solis, took every single ounce of fat off him, this guy probably weighed 215 pounds, 220 maximum, all right? So I don't want to see him. I mean, in an ideal world, I wouldn't want to see Solis higher than 225, 226 at the most. Right, but I understand that losing all that body fat that he's trying to lose right now is hard. So if he can get under 230, he still might be able to do something at the top level in the heavyweight division. If this guy was 226, he's a problem for anyone, including the Klitschkos. The Klitschkos would literally have to watch out if this guy was 226 because Solis is fast. He's got quick hands. If he was 226, he'd be quick on his feet. He'd have the explosive, you know, the extra explosiveness, the extra athleticism, the speed, the extra timing and coordination that you would need to beat a Klitschko. I'm serious. This guy's skills are that good that if he was 225, man, this guy would be a problem. He would be a serious problem. But again, we're talking about ifs here. And as far as I'm concerned, I doubt Solis will ever get in shape. Like I say, his trainer has threatened to leave him if he don't change his ways. And his promoter apparently has said that he wants to keep Solis as active as possible. Obviously, when Solis was back in Cuba as an amateur, he was fighting all the time. You know, as an international amateur, he was obviously very busy. And, you know, growing up in Cuba, he probably didn't have too much money to spend on, you know, fast food and all those kind of things. So he had no choice but to be in shape. You know, he was fighting all the time. He didn't have that much money to eat whatever he wanted to eat. So he was always in condition. He didn't have no other choice. So, you know, his promoter has said that that's the idea that they want to, that's the kind of thing they want to do with him as a professional, is to try and keep him as active as possible. You know, get him fighting every 5 or 6 weeks or whatever, keep him in the gym all the time, training for a fight. Maybe we'll see him get down to a reasonable size. I still hear people talking about body fat sometimes being an advantage for a fighter. I completely, wholeheartedly disagree. Not only do I disagree, but I call that opinion complete nonsense. As someone who has boxed myself, as someone who has had to lose a lot of weight myself for fights, I can tell you right now from personal experience that carrying extra body fat don't help you in any way whatsoever in a boxing ring. Not in any way. None. People were talking about, a couple of people said that Derek Chisora shouldn't be much lighter than he was in the Malik Scott fight, because he wouldn't, you know, the extra weight helps him with his bully boy tactics. Absolute nonsense. All right. No disrespect to anyone. I respect you all. You get what I'm saying? As long as you respect me, I respect you. But that opinion, that statement right there is nonsense, because, you know, when you lose body fat, this is what I found when I was fighting. When you lose body fat, you gain extra mobility. You gain extra flexibility. You gain extra explosiveness. You gain more energy. So the fact you have more energy and more flexibility actually makes you stronger than you was when you was fat. Yeah, it makes you more explosive. It makes your balance better. It makes your speed better. And therefore, it makes your timing better and your power better. Yeah, like if you look at Buster Douglas, for a lot of his career, he was out of shape. He was coming in fat. All right. Then you see him in a Tyson fight. Look how strong he was against Tyson. He was so strong. He had so much energy. He had so much aggression. He didn't show that kind of strength in his previous fights when he was out of shape. Because when you lose that excess body fat, you gain so much energy that it more than makes up for the fact that you've lost mass in terms of the strength that it gives you. All right. So if you had Chisora down at 235, 230, this guy would be even stronger than he is now. It would even help his bully boy tactics even more. He'd have faster hand speed. He'd have better balance. He'd be stronger than he is now. That's what people don't understand. You know, and Chisora is a guy who's a natural heavyweight, right? He's not like Solis. Solis is literally a small heavyweight, and it's got nothing to do with height. People are still banging on about height as though height has any relevance in terms of weight. Carl Froch is 6'1". Derek Chisora is 6'1". Are you telling me that Chisora is supposed to weigh the same as Carl Froch? Right, Chisora has a naturally bigger bone structure, naturally more muscle mass on his body. The height has got nothing to do with it. All right, forget about height. Same with Chisora and Solis. They're around the same height, but Chisora naturally is a much bigger man. Naturally, without any weightlifting or anything. He's not like a David Haye that has to pump weights to big himself up to become a heavyweight. It's not like that. Chisora is a natural heavyweight. The muscle that he has on his body and the bone structure and all that kind of stuff, the bone density, it's all natural. Yeah, this guy could never be a cruiserweight. Unless you literally starved him to the point where he was weak and could barely walk, Chisora could never be a cruiserweight. If you made him literally look like Mr. Universe and took all the fat off him, this guy's still going to weigh close to 230 pounds. Yeah? So like I say, not to go on about Chisora too much, but Solis, he needs to be in the 220s. He needs to be much like, you know, if you had Chisora in top shape and Solis in top shape, they would nowhere near weigh the same. Solis would probably weigh in the low 220s. Chisora would probably weigh in the low 230s. All right. So Solis need to be in any way, if he's going to be in any way a threat to the top guys in the heavyweight division, he need to be under 235. All right. That's being generous to him, but he needs to be under 235. And really, ideally, he needs to be under 225. Will we ever see it? Probably not. But if we did see it, the Klitschko's better watch out, because this guy's serious. All right, Solis is serious. Yeah, so I don't really have much more to say about this fight. And Solis, you probably heard it all before in my previous videos. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Raguel Hernandez. Solis's nickname is La Sombra. I didn't know what that meant. I don't speak Spanish. I didn't know what that meant. Apparently it means the shadow. I like that nickname. That's one good thing I will say about Solis at the moment. That's one of the best nicknames I heard for a while. The shadow. I like that. You know, the only problem with Solis is that his shadow is a bit too fat right now. You know, you need to put that shadow on a diet. Slim that shadow down a little bit. You know, then we can take him seriously. So, yeah, La Sombra, the shadow Odlanier Solis knocks out Yakup Saglam, 7th round. Let me know how you felt about the fight if you saw it. Let me know what you feel about Solis's career in general. Whether or not you think he can lose the weight. And, yeah, talk to me about any other fighters out there who may be throwing away their career through lack of discipline. Either they can't get in shape or they're getting into trouble outside of the ring. Past and present. You know, one of the other heavyweights of the past who a lot of people think could have been something special was Yakup. Tremendously talented heavyweight, but, you know, crazy man outside the ring, unfortunately, and threw his career away. So, yeah, leave a comment in the comment section below. This is Hatman. I'm out.